Since Bob now showed up, we're gonna hit recording, and we have a special guest tonight, and that is Bob Blorsky. He has a special presentation. He wants to talk on Iran.
Now, can you guys all hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. So anyway, Lev wanted to speak a little bit about Iran today. I have to speak quietly. I'm in a library. As long as you guys can hear me.
We can hear. Go
The
ahead.
head of the monster.
So anyway, I'm going to just give a couple of thoughts on Iran just to start the discussion.
It's actually Iran is the correct pronunciation.
In Florida, it's Iran. They don't deserve it.
He's a Southerner. He's a Southerner. They can't speak proper English.
Anyway, here, what I give is going to be my opinion, so you're all free to disagree with me. So just for a few minutes, I'll talk. I begin with the idea that we should be very careful not to separate the past from the present when discussing ancient cultures. And in fact, the Iranians are really Zoroastrians, and they have long periods of great empires, if you look at the history of Iran. And Islam is a more recent addition to the Iranian culture. And in fact, it's almost like a veneer that has been added to the Iranian culture. And due to Islam's aggressive nature, it has in no way moderated or tamped down the primitive culture of Persia, and Iran is really Persia. So the addition of Islam to Zoroastrianism has not moderated their behavior. Now, Zoroastrianism believes in dual deities, in two deities. So in the Zoroastrian world, there's a good god, Ahura Mazda, who is constantly at war with the forces of the negative forces in the world. And that kind of concept is also true in Christianity, the fight between good and evil. So what this has done, it has translated into the Persian concept that they must triumph over the infidels, and to them the infidels would be Judaism and Christianity. And this is taken from their ancient religion of Zoroastrianism, which again forms the basis of who they are, and Islam is the newer addition. So they still believe in that battle of good and evil, and that good will eventually triumph. That's the belief of Zoroastrianism, and the good would then be the Persian Empire. Note also that Hellenism plays a very big role in their history also, and Hellenism also is a religion of many gods, some good, some bad, and constantly at war with each other. So that's the basis of who they are in Iran. So let me just review that. Their long history of a great empire. They are obsessed with reestablishing their empire. I believe that Islam is a negative overlay or veneer on an already dysfunctional post-empire culture. They are not only obsessed with the loss of their empire, but they're also obsessed with the loss of Ishmael. When Sarah threw Hagar and Ishmael out of the family, and they were no longer the direct lineage of Abraham, I believe that also plays a great role in them perceiving who they are, and it gives them a deficit in their ego.
Isn't just one question? I thought they have a Eid, I can't remember the name of the holiday, where they think Ishmael was sacrificed by Abraham and not Yitzhak. That's like a substitution.
Right, and the way they've dealt with that is to rewrite Torah in the Quran, to substitute one for the other. That's true. Now, technically, the Iranians are not Arabs, but they're still probably the descendants in the same way, and consider themselves the descendants in the same way of Ishmael and Esau.
No, but ethnically they are Japhet, not Ham, not Shemite.
Well, anyway, you guys can correct me. Let me just finish up, and then you'll tell me where I'm wrong. It's okay. They have a long history of anti-Semitism, and throughout the 18th, we were always dhimmis, I think we're called. We were always considered second-class citizens. In the 1800s, the anti-Semitism became particularly acute. And of course, the Jewish population right now is down to, I think, 9,000. I think most of the Jews have already left there. I'll just mention one other issue of their history, and that, of course, is Purim. And in many ways in Purim, it was a disaster for their population. Haman is a relative of Amalek. He was a sorcerer. He believed that he could read our mazel with the stars. And without going into detail, he found himself to be wrong in every single one of these attempts to understand us and defeat us. And a lot of it has to do with the birth and death of Moshe, which he also misinterpreted and thought that he could use these issues of mazel against us. Like I say, I'm not going to go into the details of it, but the end of the battle, of course, is that they were utterly defeated. And the tomb of Esther and Mordecai is in Iran today. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. You could look it up online and see the picture of it. And it's a constant reminder that even in a spiritual sense, looking back to Purim, that they were defeated. So the conclusion, we have this great empire that has dealt poorly with the Jews, and the veneer of Islam on this empire comes down to adds to the sense of inferiority. I believe we can never make peace with them, and that only dealing with them in the same way that Israel is dealing with Gaza is the only way to deal with them, and the only way to end what is basically thousands of years of antagonism against the Jews. So anyway, I'm sure there's many errors in what I just said. I'm not an authority, but I welcome all of your discussions on this. So Levi, you usually start. Go ahead.
No, I'll let other guys to do, because I always do that. I've been criticized for that. Okay, I'll start. Go ahead, Ruben.
Yeah, there's a commentator. What's his name? His name is Zeiger.
Hi, Bob.
Zihan, yeah, Peter Zihan, that's his name. Peter Zihan, he's a political commentator. Wrote a very interesting book, The End of the World is Just the Beginning. And he had a video he made, which I was watching today. And he basically said that he sees several things going on there. One is America's influence in the world is declining. They're withdrawing their ships from the ocean, which used to protect shipping throughout the world. It was basically a freebie America gave to the world after World War II, promising basically to keep the lanes open, partly in self-interest, because by keeping shipping open, it helped our economy. There used to be a lot of piracy and a lot of nations preying on each other. And the American Navy was strong enough to keep all the shipping lanes open and keep the cost of shipping way down. Now America is withdrawing. It's trying to get out of the world policeman business. And this is going to lead to a lot of problems everywhere. A second thing you talked about is Israel. As America declines, Israel may have to look for new allies. But he actually sees, I thought he was going to say, well, he sees a war between Israel and Iran coming, but he actually thinks a bigger risk is a war between Iran and Saudi Arabia because of their religious differences. And he imagines Israel would come on the side of Saudi Arabia and perhaps an alliance with them. They might be able to make a joint military power and would hold off Iran. He said Israel alone would have a hard time taking on Iran by itself. He said they can look, maybe Israel can look for other partners, but he don't think England's interested. France probably not. Russia is out of the question. So he thought the most likely alliance for Israel would be with Saudi Arabia. I mean, it's interesting, predicting the future is a touchy business, but he actually is not so worried about China. He says by 2030, 2040, the population of China is going to shrink to 650 million from its present billion something, because the replacement rate of the birth rate is dropped so low, it's you need 2.1 per married couple to replace. And it's, it's below 2. It's Japan's even lower than China. Other countries similar. Italy's going to lose 10% of its population within 10 years. France, I think 5%, if not for immigration. So he actually sees that what Israel needs to do is make an alliance with Saudi Arabia, which is obviously why Iran revved up Hamas to block that by creating a crisis and a war, which forced the whole thing on the back burner. That was just some interesting information Peter Zeihan came up with. If you want to read a lot about his prediction, a very interesting book called "The End of the World is Just the Beginning," which he described as the two main things I got out of it was the implosion of populations in the West. And the other thing was the backing off of America from its role as policeman of the oceans. Anyway.
Bob Chazen, just to let you know, Bob Dorsky is doing presentation on Iran today. That's what you just got in a couple of minutes later just to tell you. Ruino just commenting on his initial introduction in Iran.
Thanks, Len.
I actually think, my personal opinion, that I think will be a peace between Israel.
Bob, you're on mute.
Am I mute?
Bob is.
No, I was on mute. I was just going to make one comment, Lev, on Reuben's statement that a decreasing population is a sign of a dying society. So that's just a little observation. Go ahead, Lev. You had a comment.
No, I'm saying I predict that I predicted all this stuff. I told my family that there will be times when you can go from Israel to Bahrain and the United Emirates and all the Arab countries, and even Saudi Arabia. Hamas unfortunately delayed it. But my prediction was in 2 years, there will be a flight from Tel Aviv to Tehran and back. There will be peace between Iran and Israel.
Well,
based on what? How do you come to that conclusion?
Based on thorough research. By the way, I forgot to tell you.
So you know when Mashiach's coming, huh?
Except for the time of Cyrus and the building of the Second Temple, there is nothing historical that shows any sort of relationship between the Persians, the Iranians, or the Jews. It just has never happened except for a brief moment when Ezra took the Jews back to Jerusalem. That's the only time I could see in history. I don't see it changing now either.
That's my point. So you prove my point. That's what's going to happen now. That's one thing. So Bob and I just proved that that's going to happen. And also, I also know that, by the way, you mentioned, Bob, that Esther and Mordecai are buried in Iran. They also buried north of Tzafat a little bit. There's a grace of Esther and Mordecai in Israel. So they're buried in both places.
No, it's true what you're saying, that the tomb that's in Iran is open to question, and no one knows for sure that they're buried there. It's a tradition that they are buried in this tomb, but no one has proved it.
There were several. I know, like Rabbi Abba. That's my favorite, of course, as you know, Reuben. Rabbi Abba from Zohar, the right-hand guy of Shimon ben Yochai, the stenographer. He took all the notes, took all the phone calls. He is also buried in Iraq and in Tzafat. I was to his kever.
Yeah.
So he's buried in two places. I mean, I couldn't go to Iraq to check it because I always want to find out about him.
So I think Iran wants to reestablish its empire. It wants to make up for many losses through the lens of Islam and Purim. And I think that there is nothing except for war between Israel and Iran in the future based on the past. If someone sees it otherwise, let me know.
You're saying there's sort of like Putin, he wants to reconstitute the Russian Empire.
Here's my cousin Philip Nellick from New York. I discovered my cousin about several months ago. It's my new cousin. His grandson called my other cousin who discovered me about 15 years ago. We're cousins. And then his grandson called him. So Philip, we see you coming in, but we don't see you on your mute. So I have to play with your controls to do that. While Philip doing this, I want to get something else, guys, just to Bob's point. I today received this interesting brochure. It's called A Brief Guide to Al-Haram Al-Sharaf, Jerusalem. So Shah, you speak fluent Arabic, right?
No.
Marhaba. So in this guide, it's a very small brochure, but it's issued in Jerusalem 1924. And that's basically, it's in English for English tourists of the Temple Mount. And in this brochure, they say it's very interesting brochure. This shows very interesting pictures of Temple Mount, all in English, old-fashioned English. And they say on the page 4, for example, there's no doubt. The site is one of the oldest in the world. Its sanctity dates from the earliest, perhaps from the prehistoric times. Its identity with the site of Solomon Temple is beyond dispute. This too is a spot, according to the universal belief, on which David built there an altar to God and offered burnt offering and peace offerings, and refers Samuel 2, chapter 24, verse 25. So
I can't join it.
For $20, I got it from Amazon.
No, I can't say anything.
Who is it? Oh, Philip. Hi.
Yes.
This is my cousin.
Hold on. Goodbye. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Hello.
Hello, Philip.
Welcome.
Kol beseder.
Philip is my cousin. We never saw each other, but you see resemblance because we're cousins, right? Hi,
Yes.
Philip is from New York, and we never saw each other. It's the first time we see it on Zoom right now. So we're recording this. So you guys, you're present on the historical event. And you see how his name Nelick is spelled Nelick, and mine is Nli.
One of you got the spelling wrong?
No, but we have many Nelicks. Some spelled with Nellick and Nelik, but we're cousins. My name is Hebrew, actually spelled Lamed Ayin Lumed Yud Kuf. But on my mother's
Shmi Ivrit Peretz. The Yiddish Feivel.
Bible, yeah. On my mother's grade, it says Nun Lamed Yud Kuf, Nelly. Nun, as Shai would say, Nun Lamed Yud Kuf. But my name is Nun Ayin Lamed Yud Kuf, Nalik.
Somebody told me that Feivel actually comes from the Russian name Pavel.
Well, actually, it was actually could be Feivel, but they gave me also Shraga.
Shraga.
Oh.
The lion.
Do you guys find the resemblance between my face and Philip? Let's see, I'll put myself in the
Well, the nose is similar.
Well, no, we have Jewish noses, that's for sure.
I'm also a landsman from New York. I'm from Bronx and Queens.
I was born in Brooklyn, and then I went to the West Indies for business. And I stood there for 20 years, and I had 75 18-wheelers on the road.
Philip,
I was all over the world. Я знаю, говорить по-русски немножко. Нет, хорошо.
Perfect.
I learned a few languages in my day.
Sure,
Philip, did you meet any Jews down there in the islands?
Did I have what?
Did you meet any Jews in the islands?
Yes, in Curacao, they have an old synagogue right near the tip of South America. And it's a Curacao, which is a Dutch country, and they have a synagogue. And they also have in the Virgin Islands an old synagogue.
Right.
So
well,
Rabbi's name is Chaim Sumamoto.
So we believe Alexander Hamilton was a Jew. He came from the islands.
Well, he did certain explorations there, but I was there for I lived there for 18 years, and Fanny died when I was born. So I went. My father couldn't keep me. He put me into a Cardinal, a Cadillac, and I was raised for the 6 years as a Catholic. My father got remarried, which I thought that mother was the right mother. It was my only mother. And everything was a secret there. So I've been trying to find Nelick for 32 years. I'm here.
and Philip, I have to tell you, this is a book. I think Ruben, I showed you the book. This is a book, 400 pages. I wrote it. It's called From Serena to Abraham. I wrote this book. This is me, Lev Nelick, you see? So have to talk.
Serena changed her name to Anna when she married Saul Weiss from the
That-
Jersey.
It's another Serena, yeah. But I call her Sarah. Serena, and
Yeah.
interestingly, Serena plus Oshai is an expert in numerology. He is an old Egyptian expert. So he will say that if I make the name Serena plus Nelik together, it's 516. I forgot, and it together numerically it equals to Sarah. Serena Nelik,
Interesting.
Sarah in numerology.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of different turns after what is it? You tell me 11 generations, things change completely.
I got 11 generations.
I've had a wonderful.
So Phil,
I had a one. Yeah,
Bill, today we're discussing Iran, and it kind of what you're just saying leads into what we were talking about, that our history with Iran, going back to the time when there were Zoroastrians, has always been a negative relationship. And the question is whether this group in the next 10 minutes can find a way of making peace with them. So we're looking for anyone's suggestion on a change of 2,000 years of what has been a difficult relationship.
yes.
We got one vote for peace from Lev, but I don't think
I
others are
feel like I predicted peace with Iran will come within 2 years. So we'll flights Tel Aviv to Iran and return. Around one way.
Bob or Shai, do you have any opinion on that? Or
Shai
Brad?
thinks 1 year.
Well,
I'm just listening.
Go ahead.
Not
Sorry.
pretty much. Yeah. No. I'm just listening. I don't really have too much knowledge about
you don't respond.
The sad news is, according to all the newspapers, though, what they're saying is, and according to the news today, it seems like that we're battling on 7. Well, we are in war with Iran right now.
Yes.
Right.
Unfortunately, I was with the
Kind of
Lubavitcher Yeshiva. When I got back to my family at that time, my grandfather had to convert me to the tribe's religion. So they put me into a Lubavitcher with Meir Schneerson. And at that time, I had discussion with him, and I says, believe me, Peretz, there'll never be peace. And that was, God knows, in the 1950s yet. So this is what he told me.
And then it was peace, see?
Well, I don't know.
Philip, who was he referring to when he said there will never be peace? Did he specify with whom?
With Iran, with the Muslims. They're all resting on the jihad, unfortunately, and the jihad is their religion. And if you're religious, you stick to the religion.
Well,
right?
I tell you guys, I wrote a paper because Phil, I'm a pump expert. I'm an expert on pumps, and Reuven will attest to it because Reuven is a Chabadnik also, like you, Philip. And I wrote a paper about East-West pipeline because I was in Saudi Arabia, I was in Bahrain, all these places. And the paper, I can send you a copy of about 10 years ago, I published in Pumps and Systems magazine, showing pipeline going Saudi Arabia to through Jordan, through Israel, then north through Lebanon, and on Turkey and over to Europe. Pipeline.
And those are those functioning pipelines right now?
There's a portion of pipelines there, but now they're going to connect them all together. Katsa, as Shai, an expert in pumps also, will attest, Katsa pipeline will connect to Saudi Arabia and to Lebanon, and Hezbollah actually will be just like American West. The cowboys, people who are robbing trains, their descendants became like respectable bank managers. So Hezbollah will be guarding the trains. We have to have a tough guys who will be like, guarding.
This whole business making of flights to Iran, is this some kind of extended joke of yours? I mean, seriously.
No, in 2 years, maybe one.
Based on what?
Well, all the facts. Look,
facts.
Bob just told us that that's going to happen too.
No, I didn't say that's going to happen. I'm saying based on the nature of aggressiveness of both the ancient Persian Empire and the present Islamic religion, that you put the two together, I don't see any way around this problem. I think there will always
the way around it, as I mentioned in my article, I said I'll send you this article, guys. In this article, there's a 500 meters drop from the Red Sea to the Dead Sea. That 500 meters drop provides enough power if we put a hydraulic power plant to drive the motors that will drive the pump to pump the oil. And it's a huge development for Israel. Saudi Arabia investing in Gaza. They want to get a resort town.
They've been talking about that concept for about 50 years and it still hasn't happened. That's not new.
No, but I published an article 10 years ago in Pumps and Systems magazine in like 2011, I think I published, I forgot. So that's going to happen. I mean, listen, people already selling the real estate in Gaza. It's like, because for 100 shekels, you can buy a nice place by the beach. And in a year or two, it'll be millions of shekels. It's a great resort. It will be peace come between Gaza. I mean, who knows yet exactly what type of government will be there, but will be peace between Arabs and Jews. Palestinians and Jews will be all normal. Iran will start doing this peace, and then pipeline. So this is good things, and all the facts, just like we're just discussing, all the facts kind of all together. It's like a puzzle, but it needs to be put together so we make it happen. Takes time, but 2 years. I say 2 years. Nobody knows exactly.
The way you're talking, Saudi Arabia and Iran have to first make peace with each other before we can have peace in the Middle East.
Well, they will have it. The reason for that, because as Ruben and I often talk in our coffee times. We get together for coffee. We didn't get the coffee a couple of days because he has a cold. He don't want to pass his flu to me. So, but as we often discuss it, is in order for that to happen, there must be it's just a natural flow of events,
But you still haven't answered the question. What facts you're basing your prediction on?
Oh, well, Bob just said historically for 50 years it didn't happen. So, but obviously, Israel. And the reason, because right now, as we all know, as Ruben, you and I talk oftentimes, Raytheon makes a lot of money by selling arms to Saudi Arabia in order to protect it from Iran. And U.S. and Raytheon sells a lot of weapons to Israel to protect it from the Arabs. But he doesn't. But they don't want to completely demolish Gaza, Hamas, because then Raytheon will lose a lot of sales to Israel of arms.
Okay. Basically, it's just a feeling you have.
You have. It's not listen, I've been pump expert, I have 40 years experience.
If the Rebbe said there's not going to be peace, that's
I think I would vote with the Rebbe.
Yeah.
Oh, let's
a better track record than
I'm gonna put $100. Okay, let's see. There's a 7 of us. Okay. I'm going to put $100 for within 2 years of the peace within Iran.
Lev, I want to tell you something. The Rebbe was, an engineer, a graduate of the Sorbonne. He worked on ships. He also, and he was a military genius. In fact, the IDF used to go to the Rebbe for advice. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah, I know that I'm referencing Rebbe. I'm almost directly quoting to him. I give an example. The two guys, the story. Two guys go to the Rebbe's, they go to the cemetery, and they see the two guys are praying. The two soldiers are putting the guys can put the kippah on, and they're praying by the graves. They're saying Kaddish, and there's one guy, the body got killed, so they say Kaddish for them. And the two yeshiva Bacharim, Hasidim coming by, and they say, these two guys are saying Kaddish for their buddy. They go to a Rebbe and say, Rebbe, this is desecration. You can't say Kaddish if you don't have a minyan. There's two guys, and they're saying Kaddish with the kippahs on. It's a desecration. You can't do it. And Rebbe said, listen, guys, everything has two ways to look at it. These guys are not religious. They don't go to synagogue. They hardly know anything about Judaism. They're probably drinking, having a good time. But they know. When your body gets killed, you say Kaddish.
It's forgivable.
Philip, what else did the Rebbe tell you that might be apropos to our discussion?
Well, that's so my illustration, Bob. The Rebbe always present things in a potentially positive way. He shows negative situation, then he shows a solution. Based on that, I'm saying within 2 years, we'll be peace with Iran.
Did you ever see this here? This here? Beduk, when they used to talk, sometimes in their discussions with the Rebbe,
like this, and then So I was in with the
Rebbe quite good because I was in that kind of studies, and he was amazed at what I picked up the religion so fast. In fact, after that, he pushed me into the Masifta Chai in Berlin.
Wow.
And,
that's very rigorous. That's a very
they wanted me. He wanted me
When
to
did you
become a
study
rabbi.
there? Philip,
I
when did you study there?
Well, we studied. I even Rashi we studied in French, and
No,
the
in
rest of
Chaim Berlin.
Tanakh.
When were you in Chaim Berlin? When Rav
What year?
Hutner was there?
What year? What year were you there?
Oh, let me see. I was 6 years old,
Whoa.
and I'm going to be 93 now. And
Whoa,
what
my
happened
dad,
was-
Alav Shalom, studied in Chaim Berlin. He had
Yeah.
smicha
Yes,
from Rav Hutner. Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe
I was there. I was there when they first opened it up on the bank building
the bank building.
on
Yes.
Stone Avenue in Brooklyn.
Hi,
So what
Whoa, you're
happened was
amazing.
after that in the Shtangadach, I was in
Oh, that's
Israel,
cool.
Yom Ha'atzmaut. I was in Israel, and I was a avian pathologist studying.
Whoa.
I was studying veterinaria, and what happened was then I was promised to go to the high hospital. I made second studies in Austin, Texas, in the military medical college. So he said, "You're going to go to the Walter Reed Hospital." The Stangedach, and I was studying at that time in the Cornell University, Valdenaria. In my 5th year, the Stangedach, they took away that promise, right? And they sent me to Korea. I had a career in Korea. I also spent 18 months as a prisoner of war in Pyongyang and Musan. And I came back at 92 pounds. So I survived all that. I finally, I prayed very much at that time, and you'll forgive me if you will. I walked away from all my studies at that time because I went through hell. And I came back, it's always a reverse, unfortunately. The Rebbe let go of me at that time. So I was only able to talk to the Chaverim that I made from the Rabbunim. And but he got the messages, but he would never talk to me again. That was the end of that. The Stangedach.
Why wouldn't he talk to you?
Well, because I left. I didn't have the same feeling about the Yotzim and Klal of the religion. I was a different person. I was sick for 5 years after that, and I recouped. I weighed 217 pounds when I went there. I was a wrestler for Cornell University for 3 years. And I was in good shape, but in the Stangedach, they took away a lot out of me. So that's the key. But I'm always respectful. Well, let me put it that way.
wow.
Well, it sounds like you've done a lot of things in your life.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Philip, I
Listen,
never heard of the Rebbe turning away from someone before.
Bis 120.
No, he turned away.
20 Uhr 70.
I could not. In other words, when I say turn away, he wouldn't speak to me.
He wouldn't reply, yeah.
No, exactly. He would not reply. And I did a lot of things for Israel too when I was there. I was involved in the Gadim Gimel in the Negev. I was there for 2 years. Then I brought my friend in, who was a civil engineer at that time, and we helped a lot with the pollution in Yerushalayim, Yerushalmi.
Yeah.
Shai, did you say your father was at Berlin, at Yeshiva Berlin?
No,
Yeah, my father.
I was
yeah,
my grandfather pushed
Shy,
me
it was
into
shy.
with the help of the rabbi Schneerson to go to the Masifta Chaim in Berlin. He wanted me to become a rabbi.
Yep,
That's
that's
the
what they
free-
did. Why, Bob? You have family that
What are you
went there?
talking about when you were
My
6 years old? Are you
son,
talking
my
about the
son
free or the
tried
Rebbe?
to.
Rega.
That's
Guys,
not.
We only have a
My
minute and a
son
half.
tried to enter my son tried to enter Berlin, but he wasn't up to their standards. It's very rigorous. So he went to Shor Yeshiv in the 5 towns, if you know where
Oh,
that
Oh,
is.
Yeah,
That's a good place.
that shurta was built by a person who is he had mines in I think in Brazil, in one of those countries, very wealthy person, and he was
I know,
a big
I know the
founder.
family. I know the family. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. I've
And they
stayed
married.
there.
They married some of my friends, Mishpacha, and I lived in Woodville for 8 years.
Let me jump
So,
in.
did you have a relationship with the previous Rebbe or the Menachem Mendel?
You're talking to me?
Friedrich Rebbe? Yeah, you have Yosef Yitzhak or Menachem Mendel? Which Rebbe do you have a relationship?
Menachem Mendel.
The guys, let me jump in. We only have a
I
minute.
really, I really was in a lot with Tiger. You ever hear the name Tiger? The brother Tigers in the Lubavitcher?
No.
Bill,
Almost
let
Guys,
have a
let me interfere for me, guys. You only have 45 seconds. So I'm gonna close to go to conclusion. First of all, next Tuesday at 8 o'clock Israeli time. Here I'm pointing for a multi-million audience. This is our Zoom ID and password to log in. Next Tuesday, pick up the topic, whatever you want. Send me what you like. Bob today, send me about Iran, and we'll close on an optimistic note as well predicted. Now, $100 we put in. I predict now. So peace within 2 years between Israel and Iran, between Gaza and Israel. I predict will be complete peace soon.
The
So
clock is running.
Good for you.
Have a good week and Shabbat Shalom. See you next
Bye-bye.
week. Love you all.
Bye.
Philip, tell Hope and Grant.